Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Seagrand here with Azure's first place deck list from Well Played November. I've been kind of inactive because of school and stuff, but recently I got some time, so I just wanted to give a big congratulations to my teammates Shadox and Azure, who have won. Josh won October Well Played, and Azure won November, so they've been killing it while I've been off being inactive. So I had some time free up, so I figured I'd just make a deck list video for Azure's Conquest lineup, and I actually think he made some really good picks, and I just talked to him. Specifically, the only list I see that has some questionable card choices is the Warrior list. So I asked him about the things, but everything made sense. So, and the list I'm most excited about is the Freeze Mage list, because I think Freeze Mage is super nuts now because of the new card. But yeah, so I'm just gonna run through each deck list very quickly and give you guys a rundown. And why this deck is this lineup is good in Conquest. So if you look, Azure played Freeze Mage, Fast Druid or Aggro Druid, and Control Warrior, like a very slow Control Warrior. So in the Freeze Mage deck we have 2 Ice Lance, 2 Frostbolt, Blood Mage Thalnos, 2 Doomsayer, this is all staple, 2 Loot Hoarders. Some people have been messing around with Loot Hoarders, but a while back I remember me and Azure talking about cutting one. Like, this was way back, and I think we both hated it. So 2 Loot Hoarders is still my favorite thing. Some people cut one for like a heal bot, and I really don't like it. You really need the draw still. It's one of the few decks where, because Loot Hoarder fell out of popularity in a lot of decks, but Freeze Mage is one of those decks where it still needs that little bit of extra draw, especially now because you cut another draw card, which I'll get to in a minute. So 2 Mad Scientist, 2 Arcane Intellect, 2 Forgotten Torch. This card is nuts. So Forgotten Torch is the new set from the Explorers expansion, and it's deal 3 damage, and then you put a 3 mana Fireball in your deck. So that, like, the reason that's good is because it's removal that you never feel bad about using. Like, usually if you use a Frostbolt, you feel bad because you're making your Ice Lances less active. So the Torch is amazing because you never feel bad using it for removal. It's a 3 mana for 3 spell, so you clear something. It's kind of like a bash, and it loads a Fireball into your deck, which is amazing. You're putting more burn into your deck. So this card is really, like, it was hard to say what Freeze Mage needed, but I feel like this card is one of those cards. Freeze Mage didn't specifically need anything, but it's just such a nice addition. So yeah, that's the new card in that deck. 2 Frost Nova, 2 Ice Barriers, 2 Ice Block, 1 Acolyte of Pain, which I was skeptical of at first, but Acolyte is not a 3 mana draw card, it's really a 5 mana draw card. If you looked at like Hyped's tutorials, I watched those like back in the day to get the rundown on Freeze Mage, because Hyped was the Freeze Mage god. He would always say he liked to save his Acolyte for turn 5, so play it turn 3, play it on turn 5, 3 mana, and then ping with the extra mana, so you're guaranteed to get 2 draws out of it, unless silence or something. So yeah, the Acolyte, like, I've been testing it, I've been playing this deck a lot, and the 1 Acolyte, you're not really missing the other one, so I'm pretty happy with that cut. Really solid cut on Azure's part. And then 2 Fireball, 2 Blizzard. I've been testing a Cone of Cold over Blizzard because on ladder I find it's a lot more aggro. So the Cone of Cold is really good against like aggro paladins, and like you can hit all the 1/1s. And also just ping them off. Like, you can hit jugglers, you can hit shielded mini bots, stuff like that. But Blizzard tends to be better, I feel, in tournament setting. It's because you're playing more control decks, so to wipe their board and do 2 mana cross tends to be a little better, so you can afford that slower 2 mana cost in a tournament environment. But something to think about, you could try the Cone of Cold. Emperor Thaurissan, staple in this deck. It's how you win most of your games. Thaurissan basically allows you to win without your other win condition. Without either of them, actually, you can win. So just to finish out the list, there's a Flame Strike, which no one really plays 2 in Freeze Mage. And then Antonidas and Alexstrasza. So getting Thaurissan with Antonidas is insane. Like, against Control Warrior, you can really, like, so long as you accumulate enough Fireballs, you're safe. Control Warrior is harder now because they have Justicar, but still really solid all around. And then yeah, so Antonidas, Alexstrasza, very self-explanatory. Your win conditions. Thaurissan, I would say, is definitely a win condition. And the single Flame Strike, you don't want to play 2. It's just too high curved. You don't want to clump up. So yeah, this deck, I would say, probably has a good matchup against Aggro Paladin, aggro decks in general. Has a bad matchup notably against Control Paladin. The Priest matchup is like they can heal, but they can't go above 30. Like Warrior is the worst because they can go above 30, so this deck covers a lot of bases. It's also really good against handlock, so you just have to know if they played things like Draxus, Peelbots, the new guy that heals to 30, Reno Jackson or something. Yeah, I think it's Reno. So yeah, that's the Freeze Mage deck. Overall, really solid deck. The only real weakness right now is Warrior. But that's always been the case, so I feel like Freeze Mage was a very solid pick for this event. Next we have Fast Trees, 2 Innervate, 2 Living Roots, 2 Leper Gnome, 2 Darnassus Aspirant, 2 Druid of the Saber, 2 Knife Juggler, 2 Savage Roarer, 2 Shade, 2 Swipe, 2 Keeper of the Grove, 2 Piloted Shredder, a Savage Combatant, 2 Druid of the Claw, 2 Fell Reaver, 2 Force of Nature, and Dr. Boom. This is card for card the list that everyone is playing for Fast Druid, even down to the single Savage Combatant. This list I like. It's probably one of the stronger choices for aggro. I was surprised. I asked Azure like why I didn't want to play aggro paladin. He said it was so one-dimensional, and I agree. Like Fast Druid also does disgusting things. So yeah, I've been testing this and I haven't been liking it as much. So there's not a whole lot to say about this Druid list. It's very strong, the Fast Druid list, but it also it runs out of steam, but not in the same way like Face Hunter would. Innervate gives you that option. Like it has a different win condition. You can just ramp them, or you can be scummy and face it up. So it's really strong deck overall. Good ladder deck. I'm sure it performed fine in the tournament. And then the deck I really want to talk about is Resident Sleeper, as Azure has named it. These screen caps are straight from him, by the way. I said, hey, I'm in the mood to make a video, and he sent me his lists. So we have 2 Execute, 2 Shield Slam, 2 Axe, 1 Slam, which I did not notice before, but it makes sense, actually. 2 Armor Smith, 2 Cruel Taskmaster. This was weird, because lists right now, the standard Kit Kats list, which is what I was playing, played Nexus Champion Zerad, and was playing like 1 shield block and a bash. So I asked him why, and he said this deck was like designed to slaughter Paladin and other aggro decks. So your Cruel Taskmaster, because this class doesn't have a ping, gains a lot more value in those matchups, because you play this, ping a 1/1, and then run it into something too, so you're saving a lot of life. But he also wasn't playing Acolyte, so I was asking him about that, but you really don't need Acolyte in this deck as much anymore. Like, even if you're behind, your late game cards will catch you up in advantage. So there's also a bash and 2 shield block. Usually people play 1 bash, 1 shield block, but Azure told me he wanted max life gain kind of deal, so nothing wrong with bash. Fine card. Shield block, really good card, I find. 1 BGH, 2 Deathbite, 2 Brawl, which is good, because now that you have Justicar, you will win every fatigue matchup, and Brawl just ensures that, like 2 Brawl, because you can crack a board. A lot of people still don't play around double Brawl. I'm guilty of that. That's always something I scout for in tournaments now. If the Warrior, if he's Control, if he's playing 1 or 2 Brawl, like I'll look around. Double Belcher, best taunt. Justicar, 2 Shield Maiden. Sometimes people play 1 Justicar, 1 Shield Maiden, but I don't see anything wrong with 2. Sylvanas, seems like heavy in the 6s, but it's fine. We're in Toronto. Baron Geddon, Dr. Boom, Gromosh, Alexstrasza, and Ysera. All standard staples at this point. Ysera has more recently become a staple. I know people didn't play it 100% before, but it's so good. It's not a lot, especially with the aggro decks. Like, you drop a Ysera if you make it to that point in the game, and you're just not going to lose. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment. Check us out on Facebook, Team Luck Plus One. Follow Azure on Twitter. The links, if you want screen caps of these decks, will be below. And yeah, give me a sub if you guys enjoyed this. I will be at future events, probably the December Well Played, if that's happening. And I will be at GGCon 2016, most likely. So, this has been C Grand, and I'm out. Thanks, guys, for watching. And yeah, see you next time.